from a beam. Welcome to this edition of the Art and Design Show. Coming up, we see sculpting taking on a U-turn. We experience a fashion warfare couture. And we see stories being told in form of dance. Stay tuned, the Art and Design Show. There is more to sculpting than just what meets the eye. Sculpting burns down to a mixture of questions like how to design and germinate ideas, introduce technique and develop personal vision within a contemporary overview. We met with Robert Sawanyana, a lecturer at the School of Art in Makerere, as well as a sculptor. We asked him why he has chosen to do sculpting as compared to painting or other forms of art.
The world we are living in is a bit competitive. It's a market-driven economy. So, and for quite some time, people have, especially in Uganda, people didn't like the art we produce so much that the people who could afford that art are the people who are well-placed organizations. And we have this other line of people who cannot afford the luxury of buying artworks. So I thought it would be much more catching to the society if I look at an aspect that would draw their attention. And that's incorporating the sculpture, which is purely a fine art, and the furniture.
Inspired by the real world, designed to utmost simplicity and built with a commitment, Robert's work portrays the perfectionism in art.
All around us we see beautiful things made by God. So every time I look out for a design, when I get to the table, I have to look at nature. If you look at works of Leonardo da Vinci, the times I take out to make drawings, if you look at that drawing, for example, it is something that I got inspiration from some of the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci. The sense of detail, the sense of delicacy. The same thing I try to put into furniture, though a bit simplified, but there are certain subtle things that you put in there that come out of the understanding of detail.
The day-to-day activity and documenting models that are later blown to more than 200 times the model size.
You make a model that will help you go into understanding the mechanism of working out that thing, the basic joinery, and the general outlook eventually. So you start a small, we call them maquettes. Initially drawing, you make a maquette, then you work out the actual materials, and then you blow it up.
Although the workshop is open to use of a variety of materials, Robert's extensive experience with wood and metal makes his work particularly valuable to his clients and artists interested in sculpting using metal.
Under normal circumstances, when you're working and you know you're going to use a particular design that you worked out during your initial process of drawing, and you conclude on a particular design, if it is workable, you make a template. A template is that first copy, you call it a prototype, that will help you map out several other similar designs for subsequent use. So I get a template, okay, then map it onto another fresh board, okay, and that one is determined by the placement, where you're going to put it. If it is stretchy, then the design has to also stretch, or you adjust the template. But normally templates have to create the same copy, okay, and you place where you're supposed to put it. So you map out on another board with a pencil, then get your points. If you have enclosed parts, then you can use a drill to create a hole, then use a jigsaw to go around. Because the one you saw was more of a concentric and curvilinear pattern, so I had to use a jigsaw. It's a bit straight, then you can use a saw. Then you work it out. After shaping it out, you cut out the negatives you don't want. Then you sandpaper the edges. If you have to varnish it, you varnish. If you have to simply place before vanishing, that one depends on where you're going to put it.
Robert doesn't have a piece that he has done and later completely forgets all about it. Each masterpiece for him has its own journey.
Oh God, I mean, I've done a number of pieces. Like the chair you saw, I think I like it. It's not yet finished, but I'm quite certain the result, the final thing will be magical. I like this table in particular. I did it some time back, but I think it's one of my best.
The perception of the way Ugandans take art has greatly changed from the way it was 5 years ago.
You walk around Kampala or in any place, you won't find this furniture. It is individualized, you won't find it anywhere. So that's the direction I'm trying to take. So that when I go to somebody's home, it is his furniture, not any other body's furniture.
Gardening is an art of growing plants with the goal of crafting a purposeful landscape. Residential gardening most often takes place in or about a residence. Gardening is quickly catching on here in Uganda as many people explore the beauty that nature possesses.
Having the interest first and the love, and then you have to have a team that you've got to work with, and you've got to come to accept that you've got to have dirty fingers, and in gardening we call them green fingers.
Specimens that are traditionally part of the African landscape, as well as plants from farther afield that will grow in the 3 climatic zones. Betty has created a special rustic path that meanders through the garden, uniting the different climatic zones.
And see how is it coping, how is it managing the changes, and you try to, before you bring it in, you try to understand what does it need, what does it require. The ones from South Africa, the thing that we have found in them is that like our soil most of the time is very fertile, especially when they have come in. There are some that we brought in when they are grey and they turn green because of their soil content, and there are some that blossom down in South Africa, and when they come here they don't flower at all. Whereas the ones in Malaysia, they are on the equator, we are on the equator. Like when they come here, they find they're at home, so we don't have a lot of problems.
If you have organized a space for gardening, the next step is to get to grips with gardening basics. Learn about the tools, techniques, and tricks of the trade that will make your garden bloom.
We use cow dung basically because it does a brilliant job and it's easily available, and it's mostly affordable. We can you can use the chemical one, but they're not really good. So if you've done a compound, like it's supposed to mature within 5 months, it would do it in like 2.5, 3 months because of giving it, the rapid grow. But the most important thing is that, it must have water. Water, water, water. Once a garden is fully established, we never use a hoe. When you use a hoe, you're cutting down the roots. Whereas if you use a hand fork, you're doing a little bit of damage, but not as much. And then because, like somebody has got to bend down, they're looking at what they're doing, and then they're not hurting the plant. Once they've, picked through, then they put it back and they're seeing it. Whereas with the hoe, you stand up and then you're not seeing what is happening on the ground, and then you need a sakatia, to cut up, like things that are dry. Normally we cut what is dry. We try to encourage people to let the plants to be natural, because, like you find that people trim them, and then you find the compound has got like, little soldiers,
Bedding plants add an instant splash of color to your garden.
You must have a colorful garden. You're looking for shade, you're looking for beauty, So, it is better to have plants that have a flower 365 days, And then, if it is your home and you're really a gardener, it's okay, because there are some plants that need a lot of caring, So if you have the time, it's fine. But if, like you're renting out the house, like, you don't have the time, all you need to do is to make that are manageable, with very, very, small, like tendering, So they have to be colorful first and foremost, because, like you need color throughout the year, So it's sometimes it's a disadvantage because, if all the color goes out, then you have a dull garden.
There are other small things that you can include in your garden to give it more life.
What we've come out now with is the waterfalls, the fountains, and we do their garden gnomes. Okay, they haven't picked up. These are figures, of little men, mushrooms, chameleon, you know, things that, you know, you just, you know, like empty pots, you know, you find an empty pot and you put it there and it's, you know, it's just there. You see it as a pot against a plant. And then you find sculptures. So, you know, the choice is up to somebody else, you know.
You can make a cheap, low-maintenance garden water fountain whose gurgling sound will soothe those frayed nerves when you pull into the driveway after a hard day at work. It's an easy do-it-yourself. First, have a small water garden pump. 2. Buy a preformed plastic pond liner. 3. Buy a plastic outdoor water fountain statuary and tubing. And 4. Get some sand. The sand will come in handy when you attempt to put your pond liner to sit level in its hole. All these can be achieved with a minimal budget, but at the end of the day, it all depends on how much one is willing to dish out for a beautiful garden.
I think the easiest way for somebody to manage and have something that is really nice is for them to give themselves a budget and say, look, this is what I want. Because even the cheapest flower, once you have set it up, is fantastic.
We all enjoy gardens for their color, texture, and smells. So why not make your residence a part of nature by gardening? Today on The Flair, we join many others to celebrate an anniversary. There were many performances and amazing couture from some of the renowned fashion designers who pitched their most elaborate evening and creative wares as African Woman launched its first anniversary. Here are the highlights of the night.
Tonight we're celebrating the first anniversary of African Women, and the reason we've managed to come so far is thanks to the support of those who have believed in us.
Congratulations.
What shall we do? Sinzinja.
Uganda, Keiga Dance Company is made up of members who do the African dance. The term African dance refers mainly to the dances of Sub-Sahara and West Africa. The music and dances of Northern Africa and the Sahara are generally more connected to those of the Near East. Jonas, the leader of the group, concentrates mainly on culture while covering many ethnic dances, Afro ballet and several other repertoire of dances.
We more in contemporary dance. We do contemporary dance. We create from our own African dances, traditional dances, and put them into express different stories.
Before starting to choreograph dance moves, the group first goes through a warm-up session in preparation.
We all have specific routines that we know, and if we have a new member, we have to teach those routines because they are good for the warm-up session. And of course, there are other physicals that we have to run through before we start the creation or an usual rehearsal for a piece.
After the warm-up session, Jonas then goes through several dance routines with the group.
I come from the West, and we have a lot of cows, a lot of milk, and this man was a shamba boy, but he wasn't taken like a shamba boy. He was taken like any other member of the family, and he tells a story about how he was treated in this family, and that is what we're trying to express in the first piece that we do. Although it's still works in progress, it's not finished work. There are very many things that we could change, and there are very many things that we would find they don't work with what we want to express.
Dedicated to bridging the gap between ages, races, communities and cultures through dance and music, especially the African dance, Jonas has gone to several festivals in Berlin, Brussels and many West African countries.
As a company, we managed to travel through very many places in Africa, but as a solo dancer, I've participated in very many festivals in Europe. There are quite many, and I've done very many collaborations with different companies abroad and very many cultural exchange activities in Europe as well. I know we still have an audience problem, but somehow we manage it through funds and other tours within Africa and Europe. It takes a long process to create because we have to first do traditional dances and then create from the traditional dances and try to see that what we're trying to express fits in within the story.
The purpose of Keiga is to create, perform and teach dance that reflects the historical experiences and contemporary life, the knowledge and appreciation of African and African-derived dances. Dances often don't appear in isolation, but are a part of broader cultural activities like marriages, harvests, spirits, to mention but a few. That's it for this edition of the Art and Design Show. Remember, contemporary art challenges us. It broadens our horizons and makes us think beyond the limits of conventional wisdom. Don't forget, you can throw us mail for comments and suggestions about the show. Our address is art@ntvuganda.co.ug. And join us next week for more. Until then, goodbye.
Welcome to this edition of the Art and Design Show. Coming up, the uniqueness of collage, meet the Miss Uganda 2007 designers, and what contemporary dancing is all about. These and more stories coming up on the Art and Design Show. This feature introduces us to the art of collage. Collage was originally a French word derived from the word coller, to mean to paste. Indeed, collage is a work of visual arts made from assembling different forms, thus creating a whole new item. This technique has made its dramatic appearance among oil paintings, an art form of groundbreaking novelty. We meet Jane Lalal, an artist who has been doing collages for a while now.
Ever since childhood, I've been an artist, right from P1. I used to eat all the popcorns that was there for the best art piece. So I think art has been part of my life.
The materials used in making collages range from old newspapers and the pieces of intricate detail depending on the artist's inspiration and mindset.
For the particular artwork I do, that is the collage, I use backcloth, that is the main material, and then I use paints, and then after that I use any material I feel can complement it for decorating, like beads, shells, and the like.
Jane's love of art and the untamed beauty of the African, especially Ugandan culture, has inspired her to make pieces mostly of the African Madonna and Child. She takes us through the nitty-gritty details of making this piece of art.
After I've thought of the idea, normally I get a pencil. I don't really have a concrete idea in my head and make a sketch. Then if it comes out well and good, I develop it into single line drawing. After I have developed it into a single line drawing and made it big enough, enlarged it, I put it onto a hard paper, maybe tracing paper, which I can reuse. Then I use carbon papers to trace it onto the back cloth. After tracing it onto the back cloth, I cut it out. I make a cutout of the single line drawing.
To ensure uniqueness and individuality, each piece is painted or dyed using a unique blend of colors and shades. Once you decide where to put a piece, apply glue to the painting and carefully but firmly press it down. Then use your fingers to rub it flat from the inside to the edges. You can choose not to cover the entire surface and fold or crumple the pieces of cloth or paper to produce a more interesting texture and relief.
The cloth can be any type. It can have a tie and dye background, it can have a batik background. You can use a method of splashing. Yeah, splashing and spraying background. After I've put it onto it, I wait for it to dry. After it's dry, I then go on to decorate it with the various materials I have.
Coming up after the break.
Woodin, having been around for over 20 years and being well established in West Africa, there's already a number of designers that are assigned to the Woodin brand.
Woodin recently opened a branch here in our own Kampala city, and not only that, they designed for and dressed the 27 contestants for the Miss Uganda 2007 beauty pageant.
Woodin is a British merchant that started trading in African prints way back in 1891. Then later he started up a factory in Côte d'Ivoire. Most people know it as Ivory Coast. And brand of African prints finally was launched in 1990. Trying to get a Woodin boutique opened up here in Uganda, we realized there's a beauty pageant. Actually, I read the Weekly Observer. There was an article that Miss Uganda is taking place July something. So right away, I contacted the organizers, and that's how I got to be.
The designs of the gowns were solely made by one of the most famous designers in West Africa, Michael Art. Woodin is a known label of quality and fashion, offering every year new collections with patterns and prints that reflect original values of the African culture, made both in Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire.
Like the Western world, they do embrace a lot of their origin, things made by them. So they get to appreciate them more. And same thing with us Africans. We really have heritage prints and that actually portray our African culture.
Though Woodin designers are based in Ghana, Kathy does insist that there are opportunities for Ugandan designers to partner with Woodin.
Uganda as a country, a textile factory that fabrics of this quality, but still, it's still African. It's from, our fabrics come from West Africa, that is Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. And the designs or the motifs behind every fabric are with African, heritage or culture, which is more like the same for most Africans. So for Uganda, I think they can still associate themselves with this.
The various African fabrics we see around us are wax prints from Congo and Zaire, lace from Nigeria, kangas and kitenge which originated from the coast of East Africa. Woodin comes with a variety of prints to suit all occasions from casual to weddings. If you love African clothes but have no idea where to start, Kathy does have some advice.
We have about 25 different themes of fabrics with warm natural tone colors that suits our African, complexion and pretty much everybody that comes around, not only African black skin, but every color complexion. Like this one is called Tentasio de Woodin. It's one of our designs. Actually, this is like 2 months old on the market. It's very new. Then we have it's more fancier. It has the fancier look on it. It has the gold spilled. And then we have the Afrique. And the design or inspiration behind this is the environment, Africa as a whole. It's very vibrant, warm. So we have the red and the natural brown for the background. Spirit Noir et Blanc. This is basically a black and white print. So you'll find we have a variety of them in that white and black, very trendy. Trésor is the other fancier brand we have. It's right here with warm, vibrant natural colors. We have the Impression de Woodin. People love this fabric. This is, I think, we just opened a month. Now it's been a month, but we are out of this totally. It's just one piece left. Afrique, we just got this in 2 weeks ago. Bassam, very natural. Style, very elegant. But we really encourage our market here that it may seem too busy for one to wear, but we do have the plains that kill the busyness of the print. So with a good designer, blend it, mix it, and it will come out like I am dressed myself. Like this first table here, it's full of the fancier metallic prints for like parties, evening, dinner, bridal parties. We have it on this first table. The second table has the plains that we mix with the prints just to kill the busyness. We have the waxes that we think are more for we get clients in here that are really, really into that. And then we have the non-fancier brands that's the last table over there. But I know we have one particular brand here, Safari. This is very, very much appreciated here in Africa. Or even the foreigners, they love this particular brand. It gives that sense of belonging once you're here. Okay, we have the children's also made out of prints. 10, 12 years olds, actually children's we have from 4 years and on. I have one of my staff people here dressed in a spirit shirt. Men are easy to design for, and they're not as complicated as the women. So for men, we have quite a variety for them to pick, unlike the women. And we get women in here saying, how come we don't have, something sewn? But we want them to pick the fabric, we mix it, and, they walk out of here happy.
And to top it all off, Woodin also has some original African jewelry and accessories.
We have the bags also from actually these are basically from the Bogolan print. Inspirations from Mali. Very, very nice bags to hold. I have professional staff in here that will help you pick a fabric based on the occasion you're going on, that will actually fit whatever occasion you are attending. Just let us know what you want to do with it, and we'll advise you the right way.
Taking a peek at the future plans, what is cooking at Woodin, Uganda?
I hope to see Woodin being one of the fashion branded names on everybody's, style of dressing, because we have it all.
Talking about style and fabric, what is Kathy's personal style?
I'm more into the freestyle, but trendy as well. I guess it kind of shows what I'm wearing now. Yeah, I go with the new trends, but on a more conservative end.
Contemporary dance is a name given to a form of 20th century concert dance. It draws on modern dance techniques and an array of still developing philosophies of movement based on the study of human body and mind interrelationships.
Contemporary dance, we can say, is something that is post-modern dance. So there were the early modern dancers that were in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Then after that period, we have the postmodern dancers, and today we have something called contemporary dance, which is a technique that can fuse any style, really, with a foundation in training, which is strong legs, strong feet, being able to jump, having a lot of range of motion, utilizing a lot of space.
Postmodern dance pioneers and others in the early 1960s to 70s were busy deconstructing and reconstructing dance conventions, developing radical approaches to movement and choreography, and questioning what is to dance and who can be a dancer. Some of the notable contemporary dance artists are Trisha Brown, David Gordon, Yvonne Rainer.
Ballet is a form of dance that was developed in the courts of Louis XIV and also in Italy at around the same time. They were steps that were developed in particular response to Louis XIV and how he wanted the noblemen to act, basically, which is the same as, say, Baksimba as being a court dance in the Uganda kingdom. Well, this dance really developed as a classical dance form that was performed in theaters for an audience. And it became a very restrictive form. Women were in point shoes and they wore tutus, which were very tight-fitting, kind of corset-like costumes. And in the early 1900s, some dancers in Europe and the US really rebelled against ballet and started a movement called modern dance. And these women, mostly women, decided to dance barefoot. They decided to dance in any kind of clothing that was not restricted. They decided that they could start using the torso. There were many African Americans in the United States, like Pearl Primus and Catherine Dunham, who started studying African dance techniques and incorporating that with modern dance. So basically, modern dance is something that kept kind of the concepts of ballet training, but modified it into something that was modern.
Contemporary dance is not a common form of dance here in Uganda, but it is slowly being appreciated.
I was here at the National Theatre and I did a solo contemporary dance, and people were laughing at me and because they didn't know what I was doing. They thought, who is this Mzungu up there like doing this crazy dance? And I thought, oh my God, like why are they laughing at me? So since then, I mean, I think there is a huge change in the appreciation of the audience since 2000. I mean, there's no comparison.
I've never actually watched one live before, only on TV, but it's what we normally see, and it's interesting.
Rather than emphasizing the technique per se, which is seen more as a tool for the dancer, it is also a means by which to strengthen the body, increase flexibility through a deliberate exposure of the contemporary dancer to a wide range of techniques to ensure versatility.
I started dancing when I was in Masagali because it was part of the school curriculum, more of a disciplinary measure, but also something to help us grow in our expression and also be able to have the confidence, the ability to stand out and say, this is who I am, take the consequences of your choices.
I think I remember when I had just gone to campus, that's when I was given dance as a course to take. And at first I asked myself, what am I gonna do with this? Because I never had a clue about dance as in a professional dancer. What I discovered after a while, it was another form of art that was really good and so rich, and it was worthwhile to explore.
That brings this edition of the Art and Design Show to a close. Remember, music washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. Do send us your comments and suggestions about the show. Our address is artanddesign@ntvuganda.co.ug. Join us for more next week. Until then, do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Every morning she shampoos my locks. Always have my back, she stand true to that. Real type of loving, thank you for that. Yo, run barefoot without no shoes and socks. Cause she keep herself clean, man, I got catch no rush. And she love me for real, man, I feel have no cash. And any little thing and from a splish, she splash. Yo, all this blinging is like you forgot. Use cheddar as the bait, then you recruit the rat. So we listen couple speech of Martin Luther chat. Dennis Brown, Bob Marley and some super cats. Yo, it seem like she live upside the Duke shop. Cause she don't have a scratch, it's only beauty spot. When one duty start is when one duty stop. 1 9 to 5, 1 5 to 12.
On this edition of Rendezvous, we rub shoulders with one of the pioneers of contemporary Ugandan music. Also thrilling dance moves in corner dance. And get to know which videos rule this week's Rendezvous chart. There is no doubt is definitely booming. Gone are the days when the only genres around were Kadongo Kamu, Lingala and jazz bands. There has been an explosion of a variety of music styles in the market spearheaded by the younger generation. Hip-hop, reggae, souk, Afrobeat, bongo flavor, gospel, dancehall, R&B, the list is endless. As many about a unique Ugandan sound, gaining respect from the already established mainstream sounds from all over the world, one particular artist stands out as having been one of the early forerunners in this new music explosion. Today on Rendezvous, up close with Raga.
I was born here in town, Najana Nkumbi, by Mr. and Mrs. Chayune, way back in the 1970s. I was born in 1974. I went to St. Henry's College, Chitovu, left St. Henry's College, Chitovu, went to Nakawa, got my diploma, left, went to the UK for the business course, then got here into music.
Bam sakata, 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 sakata.
Ragadi's talent began getting noticed in the mid-1990s with his earlier hits like Bam Sakata and Mukwano while part of a group called The Homies.
I used to sing in the school choir in Uganda Road and went on to become the Minister of Entertainment in St. Henry's College. So still I became a DJ in Nakawa, ended up with DJ Berry and Renzori, Ballroom. I used to work with so many people who are dealing in music, like the late DJ Berry, DJ Charlie. Before they used to call him DJ Charlie, now it's called Charlie Lubega. I used to work with DJ Muchibi, DJ Mondi. All those are DJs that are gone.
In 1994, Ragadi released his first 10-track album entitled Mukwano Jangu. This album, however, didn't do very well. 1995, he released his next album also containing 10 tracks called Bam Sakata. This album is the one that actually catapulted Ragadi into the current status he enjoys.
When I'm writing my songs, I write things that reflect to their life. Things that are in the day-to-day life, social, economical, and like problems that are facing people or things that face people in the day-to-day life. So I mean, if someone listens to a song and there's things about him, he will become part of the song. Songs like Godjem Chalo.
Godjem Chalo, Yayagala Godjem Chalo. Boya Benyonyo, Aguteka Tenaro. Boy, Ngatemoyima, Stole Chinae.
So many people have treated others so bad, and these are the guys who have helped them to come from Chalo. When they get to town, they want to take them back to Chalo. So I mean, someone listens to a song like that, will say, that's my song, because it reflects somehow in their day-to-day life.
Waliwo haji yaline duka dene muchikubo yayamba bantu be bambi nabalage kubo belage kubo bevuge duka kolela mu lukubo ne mu lukubo bamugobe kati ayimirira ku luguudo site kanso lwakitegedde ne mugoba ku luguudo bitabuse bikaye mulabanga haji ali ku lugendo beyajja mu kyalo bibakala agende mu kyalo beyambe nnyonnyonnyo.
My music is not Congolese, as anyone would say. It's just a fusion of what they call the African rhythms. An African rhythm is different from what you hear from the rest of the world. And also we here in Uganda we had the Ndingidis. So I mean, if I blend all that, it's not the Lingala what the people think. It's the blend of Afro to the Western that makes it sound like that. I'm a versatile artist. I blend all kinds of music together. I do reggae, I do raga, I do hip hop, I do R&B, I do Afro. But I mix Afro with the Western styles to make something good.
Since his debut album, Ragadi has gone on to release 16 more albums, which include Bamusakata, Muchala Tokaba, Farida, Carry On Don't Stop, Sisi, Jagala Dance, Mbawe, to mention but a few. Ragadi has cut himself a niche in the music circles as a musician who embodies a heavy touch of human song and in his performances, making his music both pleasant and fun to listen to. This music is an amalgam of reggae, raga, hip-hop and lingala.
I just look at day-to-day lives of people, about my kids, about my friends, about what is happening in the world, like in the day-to-day world where we are. So I think of things that when I sing, people are going to easily reflect. People in Uganda, not all of us understand Swahili so much. And not all the people understand English so much. So I mean, I mix in. Now like my new album, I have a little bit of French, there's Rwandese, there's Nyankore, there's Swahili. I mean, mixing things so that people, you do not only look at one kind of people, but we're looking at a general kind of population that can listen to the music.
Amongst the 17 albums released, Digida has been the most challenging for Ragadi.
The Digida album was a little bit tricky for me because I did it here in my house, but to voice it, I voiced it with Steve Jean. So I did the sound, the beats myself. Then I had to go to Steve Jean's studio to do this, the voicing.
Ragadi's albums Nugu have all been hits and have received Life is full of opportunities as well as challenges. Ragadi has faced his fair share of challenges along his music career quest.
There are so many, and mainly caused by these new upcoming artists. When they come up, it's like they use your name as a ladder to become big. So I mean, all they have to do is they say, I'm going to do a style better than Ragadi. So many artists come up, they first say, Raga, I want you to help me. You help him, he does the same style like you're doing. After doing it, he says, I'm bigger than that guy. So I mean, to me, I've seen this for so many years, and it no longer changes me. I can give you a hand, I know you can never be, even if you go taller than your father, you can never be your father.
As one who has been at it for quite a while, Ragadi feels obliged to offer a few words of advice to all aspiring and upcoming musicians.
You need to take time to know what the music is, what kind of music you have to do for the people, what kind of age are you going to sing for. Also, I would say people don't need to be changed by the pressures of the media, pressures of the well-known awards, because I've seen many artists are quick running to the studios, producing quick music that's not going to work because Palma deadline is coming.
Ragadi has over the years won a number of accolades, including 2004 Pearl of Africa Music Awards for the Best Raga Artist of the Year, as well as the Best Male Artist of the Year. In 2005, his reggae album was crowned the Best Album at the Golden Awards. Raga has continued to churn out hits, his latest being Abantu Bazibu, Music Muzuri and Calypso. By international stars like Shabba Ranks, Barry Sermons and Luther Vandross, Ragadi has much respect for mentors close to home like Moses Matovu of the Afrigo Band.
When Moses Matovu is singing, you feel the vibe. I mean, you feel the voice, and you know that this is a musician. Today, many of our artists, they go to a studio like this and they want a computer to turn their voice. But natural singers like the Afrigo guys, I tell you, they are good.
All in all, Ragadi is a force to reckon with in this region's current music renaissance.
Make this song and I make the people laugh. 1, 2, step blue. Stack up on the mic like I have glue. I say the 1, 2, step blue. Stack up on the mic like I have glue. 3, 4, what you gonna do? Ready, 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 ready. Ready, steady, raga diggy diggy. Bad raga. Timbaka kasabongo wenga tike biga mone misura mwe chidungu. Nsaba bimba zemba semi bimba. Bakasiru bachigala nabo bayimba. Ulira bese menya na mayumba. Abatesi batandika kuyomba. Ayoma nango mutego gwe kuzimba. Dance diggy, raga diggy diggy da. Leta oye temu yange, ulira biti yange, netobozi yange.
Coming up on Rendezvous. coming up on Rendezvous.
Peter Miles on mission.
The East African reggae bashment crew.
Here is a story so real. Where massacre grapes
Now we nice and free. Combination it a hot like we. Dedication for you and me. Enough things are gone, so we come nice way.
I step up to sing, that's me bring out me thing, and them can't ask me win. Tunes for me youth, straight to me roots. Enough boy them ask how them lyrics, I mean it's too good to be true. Flash what up on what them all want to do. Respect the all of them tunes for me youth, straight for me roots. Enough boy them ask how them lyrics fi shoot.
It's the start of a brand new month. A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Sunday's NTV Weekend Edition this first day of July 2012. Across the border, at least 16 people have lost their lives after 2 churches were attacked in Kenya using a combination of grenades and gunfire. The attacks by assailants wearing balaclavas are believed to be linked to Al-Shabaab and were carried out in the northern Kenyan town of Garissa, a strategic location which acts as a military staging point for missions into Somalia. And security has also been heightened here in Kampala ahead of tonight's Euro 2012 final. Be sure to have your say in our NTV Weekend poll. Don't go anywhere this Sunday evening, starting right now with tonight's main headlines. Carnage in Kenya. At least 16 dead after 2 churches in the northern Kenya town of Garissa are hit with grenades and gunfire.
I am Florence Talima to bring you details of how little children in Kiandungu district are studying under tough conditions.
On this week's political feature, we look at what analysts think and say regarding the bickering that has been going on within the NRM party. I'm Mauricio Chol to bring you that story.
UCU Volleyball Club narrowly survived defeat by newly promoted Guru Volleyball Club. I'm Sam Poza coming up with this story.
Once again, welcome to NTV Weekend Edition. I am Rachel Irene Namubiru. Tonight, another act of terrorism has brought carnage to Kenya after a group of balaclava-clad terrorists attacked the town's Catholic Church and the African Inland Church. No group has yet claimed responsibility, but tonight the finger of blame is being firmly pointed at Al-Shabaab or its sympathizers. Kenya's border region has been tense since it sent troops into Somalia to pursue Al-Shabaab Islamic militants. Well, let's take a look at the main information coming out of Kenya tonight. Two churches of the Kenyan town of Garissa near Somalia were hit during Sunday services this morning. A combination of grenades and gunfire was used. At least 16 people have been killed and more than 50 people have been injured. Garissa is the capital of northeastern province, about 90 miles from the Somali border. It is close to the Dadaab refugee camp where gunmen kidnapped 4 aid workers and killed a driver on Friday. Well, a few moments ago, I did speak to NTV's Jamila Mohammed, who is in Garissa, and she updated us on the very latest from the scene tonight. Also find out what the Kenyan Vice President had to say about the attack.
Yes, I'm currently in Garissa outside the African Inland Church, the scene of one of the blasts that occurred in this town this morning. And it's utter devastation. We've counted at least 3 grenades that blew up here. There's a lot of blood and clothes and shoes and other personal belongings which have been strewn all over the place. And outside, we were told that out of the 16 people who died, there were 2 police officers who had been manning the gates at this church. Apparently, they were shot down. Their guns were taken away from them, and the same guns were used to shoot some of the members of the congregation who are at the AIC church. We went to the Garissa District Hospital mortuary and we were able to count 16 bodies. There were 8 women, 6 men and 2 children. About 50 other people have been injured, and we spoke to a few of the injured from the AIC church, and they tell us that they had a blast, a huge blast, and soon after they had gunshots, and some of them, particularly one lady who had a gunshot wound to her back, tells us that she had a blast. Next thing, she was on the ground and people were on top of her. She lost consciousness, and by the time she regained consciousness, she was in hospital with a bullet wound to her back. We spoke to the wife of the Reverend of the AIC church, and her story is similar. She says they just had a huge blast, and the next thing is gunshots, and they found themselves in the hospital. At the Catholic church, there were 2 grenades that went off. No casualties were reported from the Catholic church, although there were a lot of injuries. Most of the injured have sustained injuries to the legs, to the back, to the hands, and a few to the head. We haven't spoken to the provincial police officer. He is not around, but officials at the hospital tell us that they have about 50 injured and about 16 who have died from the blast. All we know is that one of the people, the survivors at the Catholic church, tells us that at the AIC church, tells us that he saw the person who had the grenade, and the man had a mask on his face and he ran away. So nobody has been arrested so far.
Therefore, we want to send our condolences and to say that this country cannot be intimidated by people whose ideology is that of maiming and killing Kenyans. We cannot be intimidated, we cannot be cowed. And places of worship have to be respected. And therefore I want to urge Kenyans to remain calm and to allow the government to deal with this situation.
Well, the attack across the border in Kenya comes as awareness against a terrorist attack here in Kampala is raised ahead of tonight's Euro 2012 final between Spain and Italy, which is kicking off in around 14 minutes' time. Vigilance is being urged by anyone planning to visit public places tonight, especially those watching the match. Well, on July 11, 2010, suicide bombings were carried out against crowds watching a screening of the World Cup final match at 2 locations in Kampala. The attacks left 74 dead and injured 70 others. Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attacks as retaliation for Uganda's support for Amisom.
As police, we have intensified our vigilance and also our patrols and inspections in the respective public places. However, we are cautioning or calling upon owners and proprietors of those public premises where the matches are going to be watched from to also heighten up the security measures in place, have security guards in place, and also have detectors, the walk-throughs and metal detectors, to enable all to keep the watching public safe and secure, especially through intensive or vigorous checks by searching whoever is entering the premises, using the physical search and also using the machine search. We believe that if we put that together, then we shall be in position to secure the people who will be watching the matches. And also we are calling upon the members of the public again to be more vigilant and suspicious.
It's on this issue that we engage you tonight in our NTV Weekend poll, and tonight we are asking, what do you think can be done to improve security across the region? The question again, what do you think can be done to improve security across the region? Would appreciate hearing from you. The number to send your message to is 8778, followed by your name and where you're texting from. We will be reading some of your comments during and at the end of tonight's newscast. Tonight, Ugandan legislators from the African Parliament are urging for greater effort and concern to be directed toward the volatile region of Somalia, as Uganda has the majority number of troops in the region. The call was made during the second meeting of Hope in Life International, an organization who cares for the welfare of women and children in Somalia. Currently, Uganda has 6,000 Amisom troops deployed in the country. Maurice Ochol reports.
Despite relative calm and peace across Somalia capital Mogadishu, there remains pockets of Al-Shabaab that create an atmosphere of uncertainty and instability to a city that has seen so much war and bloodshed. To this backdrop, a number of organizations in collaboration with Amisom troops are currently in the process of ensuring that necessary items and rehabilitation facilities are provided. Hope in Life International cares for the welfare of children and women across this vast and volatile region.
To help liberate the people and rebuild Somalia, only Africa can transform Africa. Let's not wait for someone out there to come and help our own brothers and sisters. Let's do it ourselves. I believe we are equipped to do so.
Cecilia Ogwal, a legislator for the African Parliament, noted that although the Horn of Africa country could be experiencing relative peace, a number of efforts continually need to be put in place in order to provide increased support to Uganda that has contributed the majority of troops to the Amisom contingent.
Ugandans have proved that we are a special people in the continent of Africa. It is an African project, AU project, but you find Uganda and Burundi at the forefront. And I said, how did the peace return to Mogadishu? Peace returned to Mogadishu on the blood of Ugandans.
The second phase of the Amisom launching attacks against Al-Shabaab militants outside Mogadishu is currently going on, following the February UN resolution to expand the number of AU peacekeepers. Ugandan troops in Somalia were increased to 6,700. Maurice Ochol, NTV.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni has directed the Ministry of Health to immunize girls between the ages of 8 and 12 against the human papilloma virus, commonly known as HPV, which causes cervical cancer. This follows increased rates of the virus, which is common among the reproductive age group of women. He made the remarks while opening a health center 3 in Shema district. Koi Kadoda has the details.
This Health Center 3 that was commissioned by President Yoweri Museveni is the only health center in the district. The health center that will be able to accommodate in-house patients is expected to attend to many sick people in the area who for years have had to travel long distances to access basic health care. It was at this function that the President directed the Ministry of Health to make sure that all girls between 8 and 12 be immunized against human papilloma virus, a commonly sexually transmitted disease in the region which causes cervical cancer. The President stated that there is a budget to put a special focus on cervical cancer and promised to increase the budget to the cause, with 14 districts already marked out to pilot the project. But he too stated that the exercise should involve elderly women too, a suggestion that was embraced by the Minister for Health.
Services which were previously only in Lalal to regions. For instance, we want to scale down services for cancer in this region, beginning with Barana Regional Referral Hospital. We have noticed that in this region, cancer and accidents contribute very highly to mortality rates.
However, Christine Ondoa, the Minister in charge of Health, used this opportunity to call out to government to assist and help in the renovation of other health centers all over the country and also for a boost in the human resource capacity.
Now all roads lead to Amahoro National Stadium today, where celebrations to mark Rwanda's 50 years of independence and 18 years of liberation are being held. The national celebrations are taking place at Amahoro Stadium, but there have also been celebrations at the village level throughout the country. Rwanda got independence on July the 1st, 1962 under the leadership of Gregoire Kayibanda. who became the first president after toppling the monarchy with the help of the Belgians. Alongside the Independence Day celebrations, Rwandans will also celebrate 18 years after the liberation struggle which brought to an end the genocide against the Tutsi.
It was celebration time in Rwanda. Double celebration. The country was marking 50 years of independence and 18 years of liberation. The Amahoro Stadium in Kigali was the venue of the joint 1st of July Independence Day and 4th of July Liberation Day celebrations, an event that was attended by dignitaries from across the continent.
50 years is a short time in the life of a nation, but it is long enough to have made significant changes in the lives of our citizens.
It was an opportunity for self-reflection for Rwanda. The country collapsed in 1994 following the genocide, but has managed to break from the past. It has witnessed significant economic growth and has made strides in universal primary education and access to health care. But still, numerous challenges lie ahead.
And we must be prepared to make the necessary sacrifices, because there is no shortcut to success.
Rwandan President Paul Kagame, who blames Western powers for doing little to avert the 1994 genocide, was hitting out at the international community.
New ways of perpetuating the old order have emerged in a subtle manner, often disguised as a defense of human rights, free speech, and international justice.
He says African countries will succeed if they push their own agenda.
Our independence will be guaranteed by our own efforts, but we will always be happy to cooperate with others.
As it marks 50 years of independence, Rwanda is also celebrating the gains made in the last 18 years. In what he terms as a journey of resilience, this land of 1,000 hills has managed to rebuild itself from scratch following the 1994 genocide and now stands as a success story on the continent. Rita Tinina, NTV, Kigali, Rwanda.
Now, Daystar Nursery School in Kyandongo Refugee Settlement is a nursery school where when rain falls, the children are sent scampering home, and when it shines, they keep moving looking for shade. Under trees, they take their lessons, all three classes mixed up, baby, middle and top class. The worst part is that they take their lessons on empty stomachs, so some children do not turn up at all. Many children who got to this nursery school are refugees from Kenya, Congo and the Bududa, survivors of the 2010 landslide which killed an estimated number of people. Florence Naluyimba visited the school and has sent us this report.
This space used to offer shelter to children from Daystar Nursery School. The classrooms were dilapidated but offered some shelter nonetheless. Since 2009, the school has been catering for Kenyan refugee children who had come to Kyandongo Refugee Settlement after the 2007 post-election violence era in Kenya.
This year, in first term, after we have closed the school, the wind came and blew the classes down.
With admiration, they look at this sorry state of a building. The owners repatriated to Sudan, only a few remained.
We try to talk to them, say that we use it, but they refuse.
The little ones have just 9 benches, with their thighs acting as the writing tables, and sometimes they have to kneel so that the benches become the writing tables. But 9 benches cannot sit the pupils, who are about 70 in number. It is first come, first serve. If you miss out on a bench, you get to sit on a brick. Even the teachers have no tables. Under these trees, or rather besides these trees which do not offer shelter against the rain or the sun, lies the Daystar Nursery School, with pupils from baby, middle and top class sharing a class.
When it rains, what happens? That's the biggest challenge that we are having here. When rain comes, we have to send them at home. Yeah.
No school that day?
There's no school at that day.
Wow. And how do they withstand the sunshine? Because I see that tree is not enough to shield them.
They keep on moving. They keep on moving where there's a shelter.
Most children, refugees from Kenya, some from Congo, together with children who survived the 2010 Bududa landslide, come here for their studies.
But the teachers tell us that most of them don't turn up because of hunger. Indeed, most children do not have breakfast from their homes, and even when they get here, they do not eat anything. They just wait for 12 o'clock to run back home to find a meal or not.
They are facing a very big problem there with the famine. In fact, this year, it was the worst year.
During break time, which does not involve eating, the children get to play off the hunger. Endless yawning coupled with chapped lips bring out the clear picture of the lack of breakfast.
Sit down.
Two of them have passion fruits which are not ripe enough to offer a sweet taste, but they will do. Hands reach out for a share. Some will get countable passion fruit seeds which are better than nothing, while other hands will tire from asking. The nursery school has only 2 teachers, receiving a pay of 60,000 shillings, about $25 per month each, barely enough to survive on. Wondering how many will make a breakthrough and compete with children from better schools elsewhere, that is how we leave these children. It is a wonder that they have the energy to produce such a sound. Florence Nalimba, NTV Kyandongo District.
There's still so much more ahead on tonight's NTV Weekend Edition, and here's what you can expect. The unimaginable challenges of pregnancy for women suffering from nodding disease. And in our political feature this week, we explore the views of analysts in the wake of internal wrangles within the NRM party. NTV Weekend Edition continues after this short break. Don't go too far.
This is NTV.
Ideally, we all have the right to express our opinions and views truthfully and openly.
Atelelom tugenda katongole mbukasam.
Kampala the bus. The discussion is still going on in the bus.
Tulina okugumira challenges ezimu bwe tuba tulina okugoba abatembeeyi mwami Lukwago agumanga abatembeeyi mugende mbadde njala kunyonyola omwami yagambye nti meya Lukwago ye meya omutuufu.
Gavumenti ekutte Lukwago emunyigira mu nsonga takyekyusa.
Welcome back to Minibus Kyogereko.
Singa omusajja abankwana nga njagala sifa ku kya ssente wabula nfa ku mbeera yeeyisa
alimba ono
This is Minibus
Kyogereko.
This is NTV. This is NTV.
Kwene embeera y'abasajja bano
essuubi nga lyakuggwamu mama.
Bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale.
Sogera byange kibanda bana bagamba bweyagala nkubulira ebyange ja tugende emyanzi.
Mpulira banyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinansi. South Africa baba bakujerega obituufu
baba banjerega. Oyo mufere mubbi yennyini yeetaaga miggo.
Omuntu wa bulijjo tomuzannyirangako abeeranga dormant volcano.
Bwemba mukkiriza nina takuwa mugiyita
ate takuwa gobeera mugoberezi tolowooza nti muli mulimo oyogerera omusiraamu singa nnakubuuza nti Katonda yagamba atya.
Bw'oba oli pasita ng'okyawa olimba obba oyenda olina abakazi 3 please
Heaven is waiting for you. One day you'll pay, and soon your time is out.
Otisa moni.
Sitisa. Mkubulira. Yesu talimba.
Ma ebintu mbimala mulundi gumu. Kati what is I love peace.
Gwokola byo.
Wega seno musajja mutwale mabi.
Kwene embeera y'abasajja bano.
Esubi ngali awo.
Emmese yali ku the last piece of ejambye yali muhadi wa yonna.
No, bloody way, holy moly.
We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rachmond. Okuzimba nyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
I'm called Olar Oton. There's no English name. Just like resistors, Yakazol.
I blame you. You have option of getting international husband. Why do you get it broken?
Emmese yali
To be honest, it's one of the most scary genres of music for me.
For me every day.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, a reminder that in this evening's NTV Weekend poll, we're asking what can be done to improve security across the region. What can be done to improve security across the region? If you haven't heard you say, there's still time for you to do that. The number is 8778. Send your name as well as where you are texting from. Let's now sample a few of your views so far. And we have Wilson in Rebisengo saying, let security be a concern of every citizen instead of leaving it to security agents only. And Adam saying, dialogue is the only key to peace in the region and not war. The number once again is 8778. You still have a chance to have your say on our weekend poll question. Moving on. Shops have been closed in Mubende town by immigration officers after Indian nationals were found to be illegally conducting business and upon inspection failed to present valid work permits and trading licenses. The closures come as part of an ongoing crackdown into illegal immigrants setting up businesses across the country without the required legal documentation.
Some Indian nationals working in Mubende failed to provide work permits, original passports and valid trading licenses upon inspection. This was part of an ongoing crackdown into illegal foreign workers in the country.
One, we had received information from the security sources, from the business community, proclaiming about the operations. That even we did have the database, their details. So we wanted them to submit details pertaining to their legality, their presence and stay in Mubende.
Mubende Town Clerk Moses Sempa claims that the number of foreign nationals with no official permits allowing them to work in the area increases each day.
We wanted to know whether they were licensed to operate. That is, we wanted them to submit their trading licenses for this financial year ending.
These shops are expected to reopen once the immigration exercise is complete and the owners have provided the necessary legal documentation. Meanwhile, those who will fail to present licenses and work permits, their shops will remain closed and may face deportation.
Now, pregnancy generally is characterized by general body weakness, morning sickness, mood swings, and during labor, for some, the pain is unbearable. There are also postnatal complications, and all this happens to a normal woman. Now, imagine this happening to a young girl or woman with nodding syndrome, the mysterious disease which is characterized by mental retardation, constant seizures, poor feeding habits, among other complications. In tonight's Health Focus, Florence Nalimba examines some of the dangers associated with nodding syndrome for mother and baby.
Just a stone's throw away from Nancy's home in Padea district lives a 35-year-old man. He has been giving her a lecherous look for a couple of years. Nancy is aged 14. Her life for the past 5 years has been characterized by falling in fires after seizures, nodding her head, having saliva flow from her mouth uncontrollably, refusing food, lip biting, delirious, and quitting school because she has been having mental challenges on occasion. She has nodding syndrome, a puzzling disease for medical experts since it was first documented in Tanzania in 1962.
Cha mo ken be bale we wi teacher ke mara no ren ilum chi dong mi cha wen na bita gwa ko ne ti mo ga mo dong pi gwa ko le wet gin be ne dong ngaya pen ane be ti ka gwa ko en père ma ti no dia ma tere comme en
to desire to have sexual relations with the people who cannot who are weak, who cannot defend themselves.
Yeah, so this girl who has nodding disease and is mentally disturbed, she also doesn't have judgment.
She doesn't have the judgment, and she is a child.
Some girls exhibiting the same characteristics as Nancy have not been as lucky. They've been sexually abused. The outcome for many women of reproductive age is often pregnancy, regardless of whether or not they have nodding syndrome. Pregnancy has its share of mood swings.
The pregnancy may worsen their mental health condition. But in certain instances, we have seen women who are pregnant and their mental health condition is not bad because they are happy with their pregnancy. It depends on how they react to the pregnancy.
With pregnancy, nodding syndrome sufferers face numerous problems.
There are some medicines which are too strong and which could affect the baby, which would not want a pregnant woman to take. So it is very important that a person who has mental illness and is pregnant should see a senior mental health professional, a psychiatrist or a psychiatric clinical officer who has very good knowledge of these medicines and therefore put them on medicines which are less harmful to their baby.
How do you educate? First of all, their mental status is a bit subnormal. So these messages will give mothers in antenatal, do this, have good feeding, go for good hygiene. She will not understand.
What is unfortunate for these pregnant girls with nodding disease is that they do not have health centers nearby to access such antenatal care. Therefore, required antenatal visits will not be fulfilled.
The psychological effects of nodding disease are so adverse that they not only affect the mother, but they go as far as affecting the baby.
These are people who will have more problems and you will end up doing a cesarean section to save the baby. Because you will not cooperate when it comes to well pushing the baby. You may end up having problems there and you get a fresh stillbirth.
What if a seizure happens?
Yes, and this is the main problem. Now we can handle that medically. We have drugs to control the seizures. When you are now really convulsing, you are unconscious, and there's a really impaired blood supply in the brain. It can also affect actually the blood supply in the placenta. Though we cannot say it's purely documented right now, but this is a hypothesis that can happen.
The convulsions may also cause the mother to fall on her abdomen.
Again, you get another emergency which we call APH, which you could do because the placenta is separated. This is severe bleeding again. The mother can now die even with the baby all. Maybe she's on a delivery bed, which are high. She has convulsed there, she again falls down. It's a special way of handling them now.
And all this is a scenario in hospitals, but imagine the girls delivering from their homes with no medical assistance, as is the case here. When a girl or woman with nodding syndrome survives all this and gives birth to a healthy baby, the danger does not stop there for the baby and the mother. For a breastfeeding mother like this one, it is obvious what will happen to this baby if she got convulsions. If the mother does not fall in fire or in a well, it will be the baby to face the repercussions of the seizure. But should girls be denied a chance of becoming mothers because they have a disease for which no cure is known and no definite cause has been identified? The answer is simple. As long as they're out of their state of mind like any other patient with mental illness, they should be given protection. However, this is not the case from the villages they hail. No one really cares. The disease has defeated them. Only a cure for nodding disease will save these girls. Florence Naliba, NTV.
Thank you very much, Florence Naluyimba. Now, in our political feature this week, analysts view the bickering within the NRM party as one of the ways in which democracy is beginning to manifest in the party. This came after the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, and the Prime Minister, Mama Mbabazi, were summoned by the President over allegations that they were destroying the party's image. Some NRM legislators have argued that taking on some of the top party leaders and institutional heads is sometimes healthy. Maurice Ochol with this week's political feature.
My Lord, the Chief Justice of Uganda.
It's over a week now, ever since the bickering within the NRM hit the public's know. This further prompting the President to call the Speaker of Parliament and the Prime Minister, arguing that the two were the ones disorganizing the party. This was sparked off when the NRM lost the Bushenyi by-election, having been there himself to campaign for Basajja Balaba. Before the meeting, the President is also quoted to have belittled the Speaker of Parliament, something that didn't go well with some senior legislators in the August House.
We therefore do not expect the President to refer to the Speaker or any other leaders with whom he has been given mandate to manage the affairs of this country in a derogatory manner.
A section of lawmakers didn't take this on a lighter point, as many of them rallied behind the Speaker, arguing that it was an attack on the institution.
I should also really respect those leaders that he works with.
The executive, parliament and judiciary, they are all distinct of one another.
This is unbecoming and is unprofessional and unethical.
Now, political analysts argue that this is the beginning of democracy within the NRM party, whereby other strong political wills are beginning to emerge.
If this situation continues, where even the party is trying to subdue people, you know, so and so should not talk about this, so and so cannot talk about this, then again it spells doom for the party.
However, political analysts also note that the attack on the Speaker and the Prime Minister is another way in which probably the institution of legislature is under attack.
Going from previous occurrences, we've seen the President increasingly wanting to subdue the power of the Parliament. We've seen it happen when the President or the ruling party uses its caucus to influence the decisions of Parliament. That alone is very, very bad, because while you have the opposition, and the opposition also catered for by the Constitution.
But to some of the NRM legislators, this is just a way in which the party could be building consensus.
But is there any party that doesn't do any consultation? FDC does consultation. UPC does consultation. We have certain agenda. We are working along this agenda. Along the way, of course, like anywhere else, there are blips. Even in a home, even in a normal relationship, there are times there are misunderstandings, and there are times that things have to be understood well. But no, we don't have a problem as a party.
And to the other sectors of the public, this bickering may be emerging due to the fact that many young, vibrant political heads are sprouting up.
We are not certain whether really things are going to come out. There might be other underground mobilization which is going to be done. As the youth, there is a role we need to come out and start seeing, because this country actually is ours, because some of these people are in the evening. Tomorrow they will be leaving power.
NRM diehards still maintain that indeed all parties have got issues, and that the only way to harmonize this was by meeting the two.
That a party consulting with its members is sitting on a time bomb. And this is something that is being created. I don't know where it is coming from. But for us as NRM, we're comfortable, we know what we're doing, and the country should be relaxed, because we're moving forward and we're going to grow stronger and stronger.
To the public, others already viewed this as the beginning of the downfall of the longest serving party in Uganda. Maurice Ochol, NTV.
Well, in order to expound on these issues, Kenneth Omona, the Member of Parliament for Kaberamaido County, joins me here in the studio tonight. A very warm welcome to you, Kenneth.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Firstly, is there any bickering within the NRM party, or are we just reading too much into it?
Maybe I would say you're reading too much into it. I must say that just like any other organized political party or group, these are small intra-group dynamics. that happen. Sometimes differences in opinions exist, differences in interests can exist. But I don't think it is as big as I read, as I hear you put in the media. Yeah, but I should say that the NRM party is stable. The NRM party is prepared to take this country forward, and we have actually begun the next session of Parliament with the gusto, and we hope to deliver to the expectation of the country. I think this is not something so big like we hear.
All right, what do you make of the speculation and people saying that NRM is breathing its last? Is it should we believe in NRM anymore?
Oh, that is, I don't know how, this is far-fetched, I think.
You think it's
breathing its last? I don't think. In fact, if anything, among the parties that now exist in Uganda, NRM still emerges as the strongest party. We are the majority in parliament. We are the one that have formed government, and in the past 1 year, we have done a lot of things. Whoever says NRM is breathing its last, how? I mean, look at the last year that we had in the government. There are a lot of challenges, yes, that we are faced with. We had the question of the inflation, which was partly probably locally caused, but we also know this was partly imported inflation. Now, all this issue of inflation, then we had the work to work. In fact, this was a must imitation of the Arab Spring, and NRM has fully overcome that. We're also doing very well in other areas, infrastructure, even internationally. Amisom, we are doing very well.
Speaking
we are up to the Somalia, so I think.
Speaking of challenges, NRM has lost most of the by-elections to the opposition. What do you make of these developments?
Well, if we had time, we'll look at the critical issues why you say we have lost. Well, some of this, it's true, we have lost some of the seats, but looking at exactly what has caused this. Of course, some of them are the small differences that exist between members of the party, and this is expected in any party, except that with us in NRM, we handle ours well within the party, and I think this is why we always emerge stronger with these small challenges. There are also cases actually where we shouldn't have won, should have lost these elections. A case in point here is in Rwanda, actually, where there was wide vote rigging, and then at the end tampering of with the ballot boxes by electoral commission. And of course, well, we may call it. In Ginger, there were violent cases that we believe interfered with these elections, and of course, there are also cases of bribery and some of this violence that police don't mind well.
So, just to wrap this up, in our political feature this week, we did mention that maybe analysts are saying that maybe this bickering is a manifestation of democracy. What do you have to say about that?
Well, whatever you call it, but I know NRM is a very democratic political party, where differences in opinions, differences in interests are tolerated. Except that we have got very good mechanism of working on this within our party organs, and this is where we always emerge very strong. And well, it is all the fact that all this emerge and we emerge out of it strong, and also the fact that we are able to contain this and handle this within the party. I think this makes NRM a very, very strong political party. And for information, I want to also let you know that there has not been any incidents where police has been called to quell violence in NRM meeting, like has happened in some parties. Neither have you seen us going for each other's necks in our parties. So it means actually we are democratic. And
thank you very much, Honorable Kenneth Omona, for taking the time to speak to us.
I've been glad to be here.
All right.
And I want to assure Ugandans that the future is bright. we are more hopeful than before.
All right.
So I think let's work hard. let's move forward to deliver to the expectations of the citizens of our country.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Well, I have been speaking to Kenneth Omona, the Member of Parliament for Kaberamaido County. Now, moving on, many people, both in core business activities and not, barely consider enforcing risks in as far as managing their personal finances are concerned. For example, if you are operating a small grocery, hardware shop, boutique or restaurant, factors such as when you really need to borrow to finance your business and when not could have far-reaching implications on your personal finance. Ronald Kamulegea, financial expert, takes us through some of these key factors in this week's Personal Finance Digest.
There are certain sectors that are risky. And from our own experience as a bank, we've sort of deemed them to be not as viable as other sectors. Now, when a customer comes to us and they are actually engaged in such a sector, we don't from the onset say no, you can't take credit. However, we also exceptionally look at their performance. So even if a customer trades in a risky sector, we still consider the practice they have behind and how they've actually, whatever they've done to manage the risk that is embedded in the sector. Once we find that the customer is on top of the game, then we still consider credit. However, when a customer approaches us and they're transacting in a risky sector, and they're probably not aware of the risks, but maybe they've been lucky and one or two deals have worked out, we certainly advise them against borrowing money.
Let's now take a short break. I'll be right back with the very latest in sport. Don't go too far.
Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. I sit back. Oh, give me hope, Joanna, give me hope, Joanna, give me hope, Joanna, for the morning come, give me hope. With different colors, one people, different colors, one people.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to...
Nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, miaka rudi miaka nenda, nasinzia nikikuwaza.
Ebyo birowoozo byone yagenda n'atata birowoozo bibera simanya manita.
Sports with Guinness.
Welcome to NTV Weekend Sport. Now, Uganda Christian University men's volleyball team narrowly survived defeat by newly promoted Gulu Volleyball Club during the National Volleyball League game played today at the Makerere Business School grounds. Sam Pose reports.
The Uganda Christian University men's team came to the Nakawa grounds hoping to register an easy run over newly promoted side Gulu Volleyball Club, but to their surprise, victory almost slipped away from their hands. Although they lost the game by 3 sets to 1, Gulu came from 2 sets down and won the third set, 25-23. The game almost went to the wire in the fourth set, before UCU grabbed 2 extra points to win the set by 26-24 points.
It seemed to be easy in the first set. Then it started becoming challenging for us from the second set.
I think my boys had handled it that way. And they were taken by surprise. I think we need to prepare them for that, such surprises also.
The boys have been a lot fatigued, and when we get back, we shall strengthen the training, but also try to give them time to internalize the skills and the drills and the technique of the game.
In the other games of the day, debutants A1 Challenge Volleyball Club beat UPDF by 3-1. Ginger Volleyball Club beat Bank of Uganda 3-0. Before Kobab stopped Raga Volleyball Club by 3-1. In the women category, Sporters beat Mulago Paramedics 3-0. Giant teams including KCC, KVC and Nemo Stars missed in action today pending their return from Eldoret in Kenya. The Ugandan teams put up a poor show in Kenya in the tournament won by Kenya Prisons. Sam Poza, NTV Sport.
Now, Major League Baseball officials have concluded their camp for the East Africa region with a call on players and officials to take personal responsibility to ensure they put into practice the new skills they have gained in order to improve their performance. Moving on, with just 12 days left to the start of the 2012 Pearl of Africa Rally in Kampala, the horse drivers are in high gear as they prepare to stop the Continental Stars from dominating the competition that begins with a sprint in Lubiri on the 13th. The three-day championship will see drivers scoring for both the Continental as well as their respective national titles.
Have just returned from Nairobi where I excel. I expect to do better in the Pearl of Africa Rally. I did navigate well in Nairobi where there are complex routes. Now when I'm at home I expect to do better during the Pearl of Africa Rally.
Just a few minutes left until the kickoff of the highly anticipated Euro 2012 final. The reigning champions Spain are looking to make history against Italy. This story, as well as golf and tennis, coming up in our international sports wrap tonight.
Xavi has urged his Spanish teammates to take the final against Italy as a great opportunity to make history as the reigning European and world champions aim for a third tournament triumph. The Barcelona midfielder is desperate to write his name into the history books, but knows Spain face a difficult task against Italy in Kiev. Having defeated Germany 4 years ago, Spain, who overcame the Netherlands to win the World Cup in 2010, will become the first team to retain the European Championship if they beat Italy this evening. Victory over the Azzurri will make them the first country to win 3 major international tournaments in a row. Mario Balotelli is expected to lead the Italians' attack with the hopes of challenging for the Golden Boot award. Balotelli found the net in the 2-0 group win against the Republic of Ireland before scoring both goals as Italy overcame Germany 2-0 in the semi-final. He now needs one more goal to take the lead in the Golden Boot standings, knowing achieving that will take Italy a long way towards lifting the trophy. In golf, Raymond Russell has targeted a return to the main European tour after parting illness behind him to win the challenge in northern Italy. The 39-year-old Scot finished one shot ahead of Argentine Daniel Vasic to win his first challenge tour title. The Edinburgh golfer, who had played on the main tour from 1995 until 2006, had earned his full card via the 2010 Challenge Tour rankings. In tennis, Andy Murray knows he needs to play better if he is to keep alive his hopes of winning his first Grand Slam. The Scots struggled at times during his third round match with Marcos Bagadatis before eventually winning 7-5, 3-6, 7-5, 6-1 in 3 hours and 13 minutes.
And that winds up NTV Weekend Sport for tonight. Do stay with us. Your comments for NTV Weekend poll this evening are up next.
Are you ready to drink at the table of men?
Ebyo birowoozo
Star Profile today, we look at IJ's other half, Irene Namubiru. She had her education at Mitiana Senior Secondary School, Bugema Adventist, after which she continued to Namasagali College, where she did a lot of singing. During her senior 4 VAC, she met Ragadi, expressing her ambitions to sing. She did an audition and joined the Homies, which consisted of Ragadi, DJ Messi and Irene. Altogether, the trio released their first single, Bamusa Kata. Irene had her first concert on the 17th September 1995, and that was her first time to hit the entertainment headlines in the local papers. At this point, she decided to do music professionally and earn money from it. But at the same time, she also knew that she had to continue with her education. When she was done with school, she joined a live band where they used to perform mainly at corporate functions. In 1999, she joined Juliana Kanyomozi, her former schoolmate at Namasagali College, and together they formed the R&B all-girl group called IJ. In 2000, they released...
Welcome back. Let's now take you back to tonight's NTV Weekend poll, and we asked what can be done to improve security across the region. Thank you so much for all your comments. Let me quickly read through a few of your views right here. I have Joshua Bahebwa saying all East African member states should register its citizens biometrically and install super gadgets in towns like street cameras. This will help to eliminate the terrorists. And Mark Mukasa saying community policing would be the best option. Relationships between the police and community should be strengthened. And finally, Joey Asimwe saying unless all leaders in the East Africa region say no to terrorism and work as a team, our region will continue to suffer and remain insecure. All right, thank you so much for all your views, your opinions. We do appreciate you taking time to be part of the NTV Weekend poll. And that concludes NTV Weekend edition for tonight. NTV Tonight will return tomorrow. Keep it right here with NTV. I am Rachel Irene Namubiru, wishing you a great week ahead. And if you're watching the football tonight, enjoy the match and stay safe. Good night.
This is NTV.
Ebyo birowoozo byone yagenda n'atatta birowoozo bye simanya malitaye birowoozo byone ebyo birowoozo byone yagenda n'atatta birowoozo bye simanya malitaye birowoozo byone yagenda n'atatta.
In Star Profile today, we look at IJ's other half, Irene Namubiru. She had her education at Mitiana Senior Secondary School, Bugema Adventist.